Hello, welcome to Lazada Insider, featuring knowledge that makes a difference. We share trusted insights, forward looking perspectives, and exclusive expert interviews to keep you ahead of the curve.
Hi everyone, I'm your host Chen, and welcome to Lazada Insider Consumer Insights series. An outstanding customer's experience is one of the key differentiators for businesses. That's why many companies invest in their CS programs. But how do you know whether your CS program is working? And most importantly, how could we improve our customers' experience? We are very happy to have Aviraj from Bear International joining us today. Aviraj is the Regional Director for Asia Pacific and Middle East. As customers experience and business excellence expert, he comes with 15 years of diversified experience in managing and leading major initiatives in the field of customer experience, market research, quality management, and transformation project. Hi Aviraj, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Shen. Thank you for having me today. Um, it is a pleasure being here.
First of all, could you let our audience know more about you and what you do?
Absolutely. So I'm Aviraj Puri, as you introduced. I'm the regional director at Bear. I oversee the APAC and the Middle East markets. At Bear, what we really do is we help companies across various industry categories to address their day-to-day challenge with regards to customer experience management. We, tailor and customize the solutions that every company needs to provide actionable feedbacks to create that next level of service, which will directly impact your revenue.
Cool. So let's jump straight to today's topic. So, what is customer experience and what are some of the common challenges when it comes to managing customers' experience?
Customer experience is very straightforward. It is the kind of experience that you want to portray, your brand wants to portray to its customers when they walk into your store, or when they order from you online, or when they are staying with you. So it is a kind of service that you provide them. It's not about product, it's about the overall experience. The many challenges that come across is a lot of brands, a lot of organizations design customer experience manuals and SOPs at the management level, but it actually does not drill down when it comes to the a very basic store level. So what we see is there are certain standards in place, but are these standards implemented, or are these just on pen and paper? That's about it. So these are the biggest challenges that we see is you think about something, but you're actually giving something else. It's like a Chinese whisper. You start with something, but in the end, it's completely different what is happening at the ground level.
Cool. So, what are some of the main KPIs to track and for businesses to monitor to help them improve their customers' experience?
So, I always say that when it regards to customer experience, the KPIs are not as straightforward as it is for any other investment we talk about. It is very staggered. It's not about a business KPI. Let's say you invest $1 million somewhere and you're looking at a 5% return. I may get $50,000 by the end of the year or 6 months. It is very diversified. It cannot be, the biggest challenge is it cannot be forecasted or quantitatively expressed. Now, what does that mean? What do we need to do if we can't forecast it? It's a gradual process. We need to, every business that invests into customer experience need to come out with a matrix which is best suited for the nature of the business, and it's very unique. For example, let's take hotels. Hotels were the only industry, the hospitality industry were the only ones who used to focus on the experience part of the business. Retail was more about products, discounts, products, selling. But now that is completely changed. Now retail industry also is implementing on various steps into creating that experiences. Now, why is that? Because you're trying to evolve yourself, you're trying to evolve your brand. It's not about just selling a thing, it is about what brings the customer back. So because of this, it is very important that a lot of time and energy is spent in designing a modern and responsive customer experience program. If we do not do that, it is just waste of time, and we cannot really impart any value to the numbers that come in. Now, while talking about KPIs, like I said, it's very staggered. It involves multiple dimensions. Yes, definitely revenue is a part of it. Every business, every organization who invests something always looks at revenue. Yes, it does have a direct impact. How does it have a direct impact? There are multiple factors again. When you have great experience, you have people coming back. When you have great experience, people want to spend more time there. People try to tell about your brand, so definitely it impacts your revenue directly. It also, when your customer experience is great, your another KPI is customer satisfaction. It is not about, gone are the days when we used to say, oh, we have satisfied customers, or we have, today it is about delighted customers. Today it's about raving fans. Raving fans are the people who are not only loyal to your brand but also will vouch for your brand in front of others, and even defend your brand when it comes to anybody has a bad experience, but they will go ahead and defend proactively. Do they get something out of it? No, it was just that their loyalty is at that level. Another very important KPI is to understand what is the cost to serve. When it comes to cost to serve, it is basically improving your customer experience that has a direct impact on the cost of each and every customer. For example, if your customer experience is great, you will have lesser number of calls hitting your call center or your customer experience center, customer care center. Basically, it improves your efficiency. If you have lesser number of complaints, your managers will be more spending more time not firefighting with those complaints, but trying to coming out with different business metrics to improve their revenues. Another very important aspect with regards to this KPI is customer retention. You know, it is very difficult part in any. This is the most difficult part in any business. This is the real moment of truth, because we always say it is not about the first 6 months after launching a business or a brand or a restaurant that are you doing great. It is only after a year that you really decide, you understand whether is your brand really doing good or not. Because initially when anything new comes up, everybody wants to go there, but were you able to retain them? Were you able to bring them back? That is what is the real business, what matters typically. With another thing is additional sales. When a customer is satisfied, he's happy, it's easy for upselling. Upselling is not a it's not a tactic only about growing your revenue or growing the business. It's about better customer experience that you offer to the customers, and then they see the value in your products, and they come back and they buy that additional thing. They are here to buy just one item, but they end up buying three because they see that value. And it also creates the possibility of putting additional sales. It is always said that it is easy, it is 60 to 70% easier to sell to an existing customer than to a new customer, and that is exactly what one of the biggest KPI is when it regards to customer experience.
Sure, that is interesting. So traditionally, companies only have access to their own operations data. So how could they actually find a good benchmark to assess their performance when it comes to customers' experience?
So it's yes, I always say that it is good that you have your access to all your data a lot of times, because in order to access the benchmark, it is important to first understand, internally, first understand yourself. It's not always about comparing with your competition. It is not about going out and seeing what my A competitor is doing or what my B competitor is doing. It is first, the basic step for any company is look into yourself. Improve yourself before you compare. Yes, comparison is important to a certain extent, but more than that, it is more important that you look within yourself. It is important to understand customer experience value of for the brand. What now you will say, that's a very fancy term, customer experience value. What does this really mean? you know it means that it is basically what value that the customer brings and what is the value that your experience will add on to. Now, the customer experience value helps you recognize your customer's value at each touch point, where you speak to the customer, where you interact with the customer, maybe directly, indirectly, knowingly, unknowingly. You need to decide where and how to maximize this value. This can be done through dynamic and personalized treatment. This will maximize, creating those touch points at these various touch points, creating those wow effects when you're talking to your customer, creating those additional pointers where the customer feels welcomed, valued, and that is what it will give you an access, to. That is why it is very important to connect the various aspects of your existing data to the existing revenue. Now the brand may have, let's say, 100 stores. They see maybe 20 of theirs is the high value stores which perform really well. What really goes there, right? Now it is for a brand, it's important to analyze the data in these stores. Is it because of the people at the stores? Is it because of the location? Is it because of the kind of interaction that they have? So it is very important to understand your own product first. So how do we go about doing it? There are multiple steps. Again, there is no, I would not say there's a one same formula for everybody. Everybody will have to come up with, like I said, every business is unique. You need to come out with various strategies. So here also, you need to first of all lay down the main objective. When you're creating these benchmarks, you have to understand what is my vision. You need to first next understand is what matters and what does not matter. We can't address every problem on the earth, but what are the main areas that we need to really address? We, as a business, you need to understand what's the controllable and what aspects in your business, and what is something which is beyond your control, like the micro factors in a business which are controllable, which is within the business. Macro factors, external factors which are not controllable, like let's say, take an example of COVID. 2019 was a fabulous year for all the businesses globally, and everybody was investing aggressively before 2020, but everything came to an halt. So that is not controllable by us. But what's definitely controllable is how do we change our strategy internally to address this issue. You know, we need to create a framework for customer journey. Every customer journey needs to be mapped. Capture. It's very important to capture feedback in real time, understand, hear them out. Make the necessary amends on the way. If you've created a framework, that does not mean that has to stay forever. You need to make those changes, adapt to new situations, new challenges, and create. And very important, which I always believe and I tell everybody, is that creating that emotional connect with your customers. If you have that emotional connect, you can address anything and everything. Any challenges can be overcome when you have an emotional connect with your customers. And lastly, evaluate. When I say evaluate, is check whether whatever you have created is working for you or not. It's never too late to make amends. It's never too late to refresh. So evaluate at every step to see, because something which is working in 2021 today may not work for us in March 2022. So we need to keep evaluating and being top on the situation.
Cool. You have shared with us quite a few KPI advice to how business to improve their customers' experience. Is there any other key area that businesses need to look at?
Yes, absolutely. Like I say that these matrices have to be very unique. It's not that one cap fits all. It is, each organization has to build up their own KPIs. Each organization needs to sit, brainstorm, cut out all the noise, focus internally, understand. What happens is, a lot of times, what I have seen in my career, there's a lot of organizations, when they start investing in CX, they become too enthusiastic, over enthusiastic, I would say. You have to understand, you need to take baby steps. You cannot achieve everything in a day. Like they always say, Rome was not built in a day. So you need to take your baby steps, understand what are the challenges I might face, what are the challenges that might come, try to foresee, listen to your business. And also, it's important, yes, I'm not saying that competition is not important. Also understand your competition. Is there something that your competition is doing well? Is there something that I can adapt? I am not saying copy. There's a difference between copying and adapting. You're not just going to replicate what your competition is doing, but you will learn and try to improvise, adapt it in a better manner to your business. So that is why it's very important to also access your competition and the macro environment as well.
Cool. If a company is new to this customer's experience journey, so where can they start first?
Okay. So company, see, every company in some way or the other, you know, subconsciously, knowingly, unknowingly, does invest in CX. But the thing is, a company needs to lay it out very clearly. It's a proven fact that companies which invest in CX, which focus on customer centricity, are 60% more profitable. They bring in 5.7% more revenue than those who do not. uh, a very good place to start would be to to start using feedback. Now feedback does not only mean that you use customer feedback. It is about feedback from your internal customers, your employees, your process heads, your process managers, your frontline staff, and also feedback from the customers. And then you need to strip out the waste. When see what is the noise, cut the noise out, and start focusing on the main areas. you know then you need to it's not about only taking feedback. There are a lot of organizations which I know, they take a lot of feedback, but it's never implemented, never worked upon. It's important that you, after you take the feedback, you are resonating with the customers, you're resonating what people are telling you about, you are meeting the expectations. This will help you prevent the future issues. you know it, how do I do this is the biggest question. It's very important for to do this. You need to establish flows between various departments, brings teams together, teams like your internal teams, like customer support teams, your product design teams, marketing teams. Take feedback from them, take feedback from anybody that you feel will create an impact. Of the frontmost, the line staff, who is the guest facing staff. The comments that you may receive from them are the real comments that come in. A lot of times we try to only make strategies at the management level, but never incorporate the experience and the I would say the pointers of these frontline staff. That is very important. you know because they are the ones who are there, who are representing your brand, and they exactly know what is happening at the ground level. And also, never be shy to take external help from business consultants, from to customers management experts, who will help you design these KPIs, plan of action. And it has to be a 360-degree view. It's about mixture of market research, mixture of internal KPI linking, process change management. So yes, be it's always important to go to the experts and also take their advice when you implementing such a thing for the first time.
Cool. Just an additional questions. Just now you have mentioned, typically after a year, that is where the real test actually kick in, like to see whether the business is successful or not, because the sense of newness is gone by then. Do you have
Right.
any specific business tips that you can share with our businesses, how to overcome this?
uh, yes, absolutely. So what I believe is, today every business, everything has, I would say, the products are not, if they're not same, but they're very similar. What defines a good and a bad, or a good or a better, is basically the experience that you gain there. So so everybody, let's go to a men's garment store. Everybody's using Egyptian cotton to make your shirts. How is it different? Not really different, right? Why do you go to a particular brand only? Also, directly depends on the experience that you get there. It depends on the customer service that you get there. There are certain hotels you would always go and stay. Do they give you free? No, they do not give you free rooms, but you like the service that is there. You like how you're taken care of there. So for every business, you should make sure that every customer who steps in is treated with utmost respect and parity, and as well as given that importance and given that real experience that you want to resonate with the people.
Do you have any specific example of business tips to be shared with our online seller when it comes to digital commerce?
Absolutely. Um, so, like you rightly mentioned, online seller. I think before 2020, it was online seller, but now it's not an online seller anymore. Even the digital e-commerce is leading to experiences. So, I work with a lot of global companies who are very big in this space, who are now working towards improving customer experience even online, from the way your product is listed to the way your product is shipped and delivered. We are also working on those lines as well, because you when you go back and see, I need to buy something. Let's say I need to buy a phone, and I start looking at that phone, and if I see negative reviews, although that phone would be the best phone on the earth, I may not pick it up. Why? Because I see a lot of negative reviews on the phone. And I always say, who puts a negative review? Somebody is unhappy. There would be thousands and thousands of the same products sold, but there are 50 unhappy customers out of the thousands, which may be just be maybe some percent, of maybe 2% or 1% of the total, and they will influence another thousands of people not to buy that product. Now, how do you address that? Either you leave the review there itself, or you take an extra mile and revert to that review. It is about creating your online presence. It is about improving your social scores. You get a negative review, take it as a positive feedback, take it as a positive criticism. Reach out. A lot of times, like you said, the sellers, when you have a negative review, do not reply back also. But there are certain which I have personally experienced. I have given a negative review because of whatever the product, even after 3 months of getting the product. Uh, and the seller has reverted back to me. The seller has, taken extra effort to do that. What does that mean? I have my reviews. I had to put a positive review after a negative review for the effort that was put in. And now I'm regularly using that product, their brands, because I now have the faith in that brand. I now have a faith. I now understand for them it is not only about selling and getting the money in, it is about creating those loyal customers. So I think every online seller should be focusing on something on those lines, and that will really take the business to the next level.
Cool. Thank you. Here come to the end of today's episode. Thank you very much, Aviraj, for sharing with us your insights.
Thank you, Jen.
This is Lazada Insider. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you click follow and subscribe so you don't miss our latest insights and expert interviews. Thanks again for joining us. Until next time, take care.
Lazada.